Hey guys, how's it going, eh? Todd, the cheap drums guy. Those of you new to my channel, I got a lot of new subscribers. Welcome to Northern Michigan. My name is Todd Thomas. I'm somewhat of a novice drummer. I haven't been actually playing for more than a year and a half, but as far as knowledge goes with drums and whatnot, I kind of rank in about an intermediate level. But again, I'm a novice when it comes to actually playing it. I started off with several kits, two of which I've scrapped now just due to problems that ensued with the kits. And right now I've got myself at a happy medium with 3 kits, 2 Premier and 1 Pearl set. I am a lover of Premier drums. I just love Premier drums. Some people like their Thomas, some people like their Pearls. I love Premier. I have a Premier Olympic and a Premier APK sets. They're absolutely wonderful. They're beautiful kits to look at. I'd fill the whole basement with Premier drum sets. However, I just don't have the room. So I'm going to settle. I'm happy with what I have now. But I like to collect Premier items. So snares are very unique. I have 7 of them. Out of my 11 snares, I have 7 of which are Premier. They're all different. Unfortunately, I was trying to go for like size with sizes. I wanted a 13-inch Premier. Then I wanted like a 14 by 5, 14 by 5 and a half, 14 by 6, 14 by 6 and a half, etc., etc. So you hear what you see where I'm going with that. However, I buy them used through Guitar Center, and they're not always really good at getting the correct sizes of these snare drums. So on 3 occasions, 3 of the snares that I ordered where I was expecting to have a certain size, I did not get that size. I opted not to send them back. I opted to keep them because they were still different than each other. Now this is the second video I've done on this today, because the first one was 50 minutes long and it was taking forever to download. So I decided to redo it and remove all the snare drum playing out of it, because that's the only way I'm going to get through this in a decent amount of time. So let's get to the Premier snares, eh? So let's start off with my first one. This one was my introduction to Premier snares. There's a lot of reasons why I think I love Premier snares. More than I actually want to go over right now, just because it's going to drag out the video even longer. But the fact of the matter is, I do love the Premier snares. And I was really tickled and really excited to get my first one. And again, this is not exactly what I expected when I ordered it. But this was my first snare that I got that was a Premier. This is a Premier model 1006. It's an 8-lug chrome over steel drum. It is a 14 by 5. It's got the regular Premier Olympic badge. Not my favorite badge of Premier. However, it's fine. It's got the big P on there anyways. But the one thing I wasn't too crazy about, one, it was listed as the wrong size. It was supposed to be a 5.5. This is actually a 5. But unfortunately, it has a Ludwig P85 throw-off. I don't like P85s. I really don't like that style of throw-off. I really don't. However, this one works fine. I have no problems with it. The 1006 was a basic snare drum added to Olympic kits. It's inexpensive. It does come with a built-in dampener. That's quite effective. Now all my Premier snares have recently gone through an upgrade. I've replaced all the metal washers with Danmar nylon ones, which are really nice. It seats the tension rods in the hole a little better, and allows the head, it seems like, everything just seems to work better with the new hoops, with the hoops and the heads and all that kind of stuff when you get the Danmars, because it gets them spaced out a lot better, I think. So I replaced those. With this kit, I upgraded with new heads. It's got a Remo and Bassner snare side on the Rezo and an Evans UV1 on the batter. Also, you can see it has pure sound wires. This is the equalizer, so I really like this because this snare had a tendency to ring a little bit. And you know, I am a novice when it comes to playing. I'm learning tuning with snares. The toms I've gotten down to proper pitches and whatnot, and I'm doing well with those, but the snares are a little bit more difficult, so it's still a work in progress. But this snare had a tendency to ring a little bit more, I guess. I don't know exactly why. I'm not that kind of engineer, but that's why I opted to go with the Pure Sound equalizer wires on this one, and that's a wonderful snare drum, and I've used this one quite a bit. Now, also along the same size as Olympics is this special girl here. This is a very special snare drum. This is a rare snare drum, and I was lucky to find it, and I took advantage of someone at Guitar Center not knowing exactly what they had, because they could have charged a lot more for this. But what this is a model 1035 Premier 14 by 5.5 Super Olympic, and you can see it's got a special badge on it. It's a blue P badge. Now, what sets this Olympic snare drum apart from its 1006 cousin there is that this is a 10 lug snare drum. Most Premier snare drums on the Olympics, APKs, XPKs were all 8 lug. This is a 10 lug. The Super Olympic drum set that this usually came with was distinctive because the snare and the bass drum both had 10 lugs. And there goes my dogs. It's got the speedboat lugs. It's got a very simple Premier throw off on it. I really like these a lot. They're infallible. They just work fine. The only problem I have with the snare drum is the hoops. The flange along the edge of the hoops is really stout. I mean, it sticks out quite a bit, and it's quite difficult to get a drum key on the hoops. Even like my Evans torque key will not fit. I have to use the cheapest of the cheap drum keys to able to tighten the heads on this one down. Now, I'm fortunate that none of my Premier snares came with the slotted rods. I hate the slotted ones. I'm glad they're all have these on there, because I just don't like having so many different types of things I have to work with. But this one is a little, like I said, it's a little difficult to get it tightened down, but the Danmars seem to have helped alleviate a lot of that problem. But this is a wonderful snare, and I've got this one upgraded with an Evans snare tune-up kit. It has an Evans 300 snare side head on it, and on the batter it has an Evans 56 calf tone head. I love this head. It's much different than the other ones I have. It's not textured, it's quite smooth. It just has a different appearance to it, and it's really cool. And this snare sounds absolutely fantastic. It's really, really nice. This one, along with that Evans tune-up kit, it came with a 16 strand set of wires. They're called concert wires. Out of all, oh boy, I forgot to read just someone yesterday. But out of, Evans makes 3 tune-up kits, and I bought 3 of them. One is the UV1 tune-up kit, and I like that one because you get the actual, when you get Pure Sound wires, you get the actual Pure Sound straps to go with it. You also have the HD dry set, and then you have the Evans 56 calf tone. This is a really nice head, and this is a wonderful drum. The Super Olympic is fairly rare. Does that mean it's $1 million drum set? No, or snare drum? No, it's not. It's just, you're looking at $250 to $350. I haven't seen very many of these for sale, but the ones I have were about that price range, and I was fortunate enough to get this girl at $99. Yeah, she's beautiful, and this is quite possibly my favorite snare drum. It is just, it sounds wonderful, and it looks great, and I'm proud to have her. And that is my 1035. Okay, moving on. Its little bigger brother, well, not really bigger brother, I guess to the first one this was. This is my Premier 1005. Now, this is, again, when I mentioned that they had marked the wrong size on it, this is the one, this is another one that they had done it to. Now, when I bought this one, just making sure the dogs aren't coming down here. When I went to buy this one was also $99, and I bought this out of a Guitar Center in Iowa, I believe it was. This was marked as a 14 by 6.5. And I wanted a thicker boy, you know, I wanted a thicker snare, a bigger one. And unfortunately, this isn't it. It's a 14 by 6. I believe this is the 1005. It has the dampener, built-in dampener to it, and also that very simple Premier throw off on there. I really like these. Only problem is I don't have the patience for these damn wires. I hate the snare or the snare wires when you're connecting the snare wires, the cords. I don't like using the cords. I like using the straps. But this one has a Remo Ambassador snare side. It's got Pure Sound 20 strand blasters series wires on there, and it's sporting an Aquarian texture coated head. Now, as you see, I got a lot of crap on this head. I just automatically, when I got it, I put it on there, and I'll be soon taking these off and just have the basic Aquarian texture coated head on there. I don't like, the more I go along in all this, the less, or the more I appreciate not dampening the snares, because I used to do all sorts of crazy crap to them, tape and bubble wrap on the inside, because I like that more of a processed sound. But the more I get into this, the more I appreciate the overtones and extra sounds that you get from just bare heads on them. I'm not a fan of the Aquarian texture coated head at all. However, this is an absolutely wonderful snare drum, and I really love the chrome over steel Premier snares. Now this one, like the first one I showed, which was the 1006, it's the same type of lugs. The shell is only a ½ inch deeper. Everything on it is pretty much the same except the badge, and this has the beautiful Premier Big P badge, and I absolutely love it. This is a fine snare drum. It's a nice addition to my collection, and even though the size wasn't right, I'm still happy I've got it. And I apologize for turning my back to you. This snare is my Premier APK model 1062. It's got the low mass lugs, the nice big Premier P badge. You're welcome. And it's got one of the newer, or the more high, I wouldn't say high end, but better than their basic throw off on there. And luckily, this one uses the straps and not the cords. I hate the cords. This one has a Premier SD snare side head. I don't think it's the original, but I think at one time it was replaced by this, because this is in really good shape. On the batter, I have an Evans hydraulic head, which I'm really not that big a fan of, but it's still a nice head. It still sounds good with the snare drum. I have a set of 20 strand Pure Sound blasters on it. And I actually might swap this out, because the one snare I do have has the equalizers, and I think they might fit on this one a little bit better. It's also an 8-lug drum. It has the low mass lugs on it. It does not have any built-in dampening on it, which is fine. It still sounds really good. The throw off works really nice, really effective, and it's got a really, the adjustment knob has quite a bit of play and a lot of travel for it. But this is a nice snare drum. The APKs, Premier at one time had, when they were in full production in their Leicester factory, two of their more popular kits were the APK and the XPKs. The APK kits came with pretty much just different choices and wraps, and the snare that came with the kit was usually a chrome over steel. The XPKs were all of a lacquer finish, and generally they had a matching wooden snare drum that came with the kit. I'm actually rather fond of their chrome over steels. I didn't think, when I first got into all this, I didn't think I'd like uh, the chrome over steel, just for the fact that there are more overtones and more noise and more things to deal with. You know, I always thought that's really not the case. The more I've learned and all that, and I do appreciate the steel snare drums. However, just because they're different, I do. If I were to choose between the two, I would take wood over the steel. But I'm getting better with my snare drum tuning now, and I appreciate the steel snare drums a little bit more. This is again my 1062 APK. I can't remember what I paid for this. This, I think it was $169. I'm not sure. There's another one in there now, and it's funny, all the Guitar Centers seem to be different, because the price will fluctuate on there. They'll go anywhere from $150 to $300. I guess they're just, you know, they put it on there initially high, and then eventually they keep dropping the price until someone buys it. But this, I believe, this was my second Premier snare I acquired. Sorry. You really can't move snares around without making a hell of a lot of noise. All right, so we went over those girls. All right, moving up here. Now we just talked about my APK snare, which was that 1062, and I had said the XPKs came with the matching wooden snare, and this is an XPK snare. This is the model 2032. Now, if any of you have seen my APK kit, the lugs on this one match. It's the same, around the same year, late 1980s. I believe my APK is in 1988, and so this XPK snare would fit around that same time frame due to its lugs and whatnot. Now this one has a little bit higher end throw off on it. It's really nice. It works fabulous. Oh, actually no, this is the one that kind of sticks a little bit. So I have to kind of, there it goes. But other than that, it works fine. I don't have a problem with it. It is an older snare. You know, I'm not looking for perfection. These drums are 20, 30 years old. So I'll take what I got. But anyways, it's got the nice big Premier P badge on there. Now, it is a very fine sparkle on here, but it is a lacquer finish, as the XPKs were noted to be. And this one, I believe, well, this one also has a Premier SD snare side resin. And this one, this resin, I thought might be actually brand new. I mean, it looks brand new. Two of my snares have this head on there, on their snare side, and they're really not worn. There's really no issues with them, so I opted to keep them on there. I did take out the original snare wires because they were quite stretched out and quite worn, and I replaced it with a 20-strand Pure Sound blaster. This is a wonderful, wonderful snare drum. I am so happy. The 2032 is just, I wanted another wooden Premier snare drum. Actually, this was my first wooden Premier snare drum, and I really wanted one. On the batter, like with that Pearl Soundcheck snare drum, I put an Attack Sound Baron, or Top Baron, I should say. And this is probably my favorite snare head for wooden snare drums. I just really appreciate the sound I can get. It's really easy to tune. It's very, because I'm still working on my tuning, it allows a lot of leeway for my mistakes and whatnot. But I'm getting better. And of course got brand new Danmar washers on it. And this one was a little dirty, and I cleaned her up really nice. I'm not exactly sure of the type of wood in there. The APK kit is eucalyptus and Meranti, which is Asian mahogany. I believe the XPKs, some were that, as well as birch. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, it's hard finding a lot of information with Premier stuff. But I believe this snare drum to be birch by the look of the wood inside. It's got a really pleasant sound, and it also is a 14 by 5.5. All right. Now for my Big Daddy. Okay, this of my Premier snare drums, this is my top of the line. This is the most expensive snare drum I've bought, and as far as quality goes, this would be my highest quality snare drum of the Premiers that I have. This is a Premier Genista snare in red blaze finish. Genista is a higher quality set of theirs. It's not the highest. It doesn't rank up there with their Artist Birch or their Signia Maples, but these are nonetheless fine kits. This is a non-English made snare drum though. It does not have the made in England on there. It just says Premier since 1922 Genista. So these are probably made in Taiwan, but that doesn't mean they're not high quality and they are. This is a very, very high quality snare drum. Now this one I also used the Evans upgrade kit on it. It's got the Evans 300 snare side, and on the batter it has the Evans UV1, which I really appreciate that head too. They're nice. It's got a 20 strand set of Pure Sound blasters on there, and I believe now a lot of some Genistas come in birch. Our David R did a video recently of the Genista 100 SE kit, which is the white with the 3 red stripes. Beautiful kit, and that's birch. However, knowing my woods from working through builder supply companies, that's not birch. This looks to be maple, and when I do type in Premier Genista maple snare drums, this one often shows up in the pictures, and the wood on the inside is absolutely fabulous. It is smooth as can be. It's mirror smooth. The bearing edges are absolutely perfect. Oh, they're just absolutely wonderful. This is also a lacquer finish. It's a very pale black sparkle with a bright red sparkle inlay. It's all lacquer though. Premier, I don't know how they do it. The egg-shaped lugs are, I believe, are reproductions of their original 1990 something lugs. So they're made to the same specs and all that kind of stuff. I believe this might be a Taiwanese made one, but still it is very, very high quality. This is my most expensive snare drum that I bought. It was also used. To buy a new Genista now is going to cost you, if you're in England, $335. If you're here in the States and you order one, it's going to cost you the $335 plus about $60 to $80 in shipping. I did get this one for about $200. I wasn't upset about that. You're never going to find a Genista snare drum for under $200 anyways. But I paid $200 for this, and I'm really happy. It's a 14x6, and I use this snare drum a lot. It's got a little bit more beefier throw off on that one. It's quite stout, and you see I got Pure Sound straps on that one. I really like those Pure Sound straps, and I've been trying to buy those separately. You just can't find them, and only time you can get them is if you buy the higher end Pure Sound wires. You can get this in the set, but with that Evans tune-up kit and the UV1 kit, which this one I got through the UV1 kit, you also get the 20 strand wires with the quick disconnects on or for the wires. So when you're changing the snare head out, you don't have, if you're going to swap out the head, all you do is pull the pins, pull your wires off, change your head, put everything back on, and just hook your wires back up with the pins. It's supposed to help or keep you from having to readjust your wires. They'll be at the same setting once you get them back together. Do I really need to change my snare side head out that much? No, I don't. I really didn't have the need for that, so I took out one of the pins, so I just got them strapped in. I don't need all that crap. This will probably be the last snare side the head this snare has while I'm still alive. So, but it's a wonderful, wonderful kit. It's quite heavy. It's even heavier than my chrome over steel APK snare drum, the 1062. This one's got some weight to it, but it's absolutely beautiful on the inside. And the finish on the outside is nice, but the inside just looks a whole lot better. I use this one. This is a 14x6. I use this one quite a bit. I just like the sound. It's not the best sound. It's the most consistent sound, I'll say. It's not the best. It's not the worst. Uh, it's not an excellent snare drum. It's just a very good snare drum. I really like this. I appreciate it. And it's a definite wonderful addition to my collection. And again, those Evans snare tune-up kits are absolutely fantastic. With the Super Olympic, I got the 56 calf tone set. Each of the snare sets they have three. They have the UV1, the calf tone, and then also the HD dry. They're wonderful upgrade kits. They get everything you need, including polish and lug lube and whatnot. Some are a little different than the others. The calf tone, you don't get, you only get the snare cords. You don't get the nice pure sound straps. The UV1, you get the straps, and the calf. It's there's a little bit of give and take, but they're a wonderful thing. And if I had the money, I would have upgraded all the Premier snares with Evans tune-up kits, regardless of how the heads were on there. But this is the UV1. This had the UV1 upgrade kit, and it's really nice. I'm going to try to get that one in the spot. Now, number 7, and the last of the bunch. Now, this snare came with the Premier Olympic set I have. Now, this is not a true Premier drum set. This is like all the drum bands or all the drum brands at one time order bulk sets from overseas, from Taiwan. Pearl does it, or Pearl makes actually most of them. Tama does it, Ludwig does it. All the major brands buy it. They buy a whole bunch of these generic sets and they put their own decals on there. And like you say, Premier followed suit. And the snare that came with this kit, it's original to this kit. Although it's a Premier kit, it's not truly a Premier snare drum. And you've all seen this snare drum 100 other times with 100 other different kits. It's generic as it comes. It has a Ludwig-esque and kind of Premier type throw off on there. Works fine. Works actually better than a lot of the other throw offs I have. But this is bare bones, basic snare drum. It does not have dampening in it. And where it saved money was the quality of the hardware, quality of everything on it. But I was surprised when I tuned it up, and because I've used this actually with this kit more than my other snares, it's got a really surprisingly nice sound to it. It really does. And on it, I have an Aquarian Ambassador snare side, a set of Pure Sound 20-wire blasters, and a Remo coated Emperor, which I am really becoming a fan of. And you can see I've used this one quite a bit. And also, one of the best features, I think one of the other nicer features that come with those Evans snare tune-up kits are these equalizer pods. You get 2 of those per kit. They're like a moon gel, but more rigid, and they're only sticky on one side. You know, so the other side closest to you isn't all covered in dog hair and schmutz and whatever, but it's fairly smooth. And like the other ones you clean off, you just damp cloth, wipe it off, it's clean and it sticks. They hold like steel. Before, more often than not, I was using the big fat snare drum on my snares to get a real thick boy sound to it. But the more I have all this variety of snares and the different sounds each one of them has, the more I'm appreciating the actual sounds of just the bare head or just using one dampener on it. And these Evans ones, and I've got 6 of these things now, and I don't even use the moon gels anymore because these are just so much more efficient and better. But again, this is not a true Premier snare. However, it came with the Olympic. This is the snare that came with it. So I'm holding it in the same regards as I do my others. I did upgrade this one, of course, with new equipment and Damar washers. And this snare drum I will continue to use, and probably for the rest of my life. Down the road, I do have pictures I've taken of the drum decals, the drum badge decals on this set, and I was planning on printing off a copy on photo paper and cutting it out and actually adhering it to this drum. Is it real Premier snare? No, it's not. I mean, is that the right thing to do? Well, you know, it's mine. Who cares? These aren't true Premiers, yet they have the Premier badge on it. This drum came with these drums, so it wouldn't hurt to put the badge on it. And but these are my Premier snare drums. They're not super high end at all. Generally, when you look up online, my Premier snare drum collection, Signia maples and birches and Genistas, and you're talking some of these snare drums these people have in their collections, just the cost of one of them are more than all of mine combined. So I don't feel that bad. These are inexpensive for the most part, but they're worth millions to me. I mean, I absolutely love them. But that's my collection. My 1006, my 1005, my 1035, my 1062, my 2032, and my Genista. And of course, Mr. Plain Jane here, which will hopefully get a decal badge soon. But anyways, before I go, let me take a real quick shout out to my lovely little Lainey and her belated birthday. She turned 15. Happy birthday to you, sweetheart. And to my subscriber, Nintendo, him and his girl just had a healthy baby, and I hope everyone is well there. And I got another grandchild coming soon. Kids are breeding like rabbits these days. Something in the water, I think, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, I'm Todd, the Cheap Drums Guy, and I'm going to get my ass up on out of here. I'll probably take the dogs out if they haven't already crapped upstairs, the little bastards. But anyways, you people have a great day, and I'll see you maybe next week or the week after. It all depends. Summer's here. I got to get ready for my bikinis.